All right, so what is up, people? Um, Current viewers zero, chat rate zero, views zero. Not even yeah, nothing on the chart. And what is interesting, you know what? I recorded a whole news thing yesterday, and here's the rub. I did like a whole live session, and I'm trying to figure out all this USB, OSB shit, and for some reason, the sound didn't record. And shout out to the lip reading population. Um, I should have left it up, but it was 20 minutes of just no sound. So while this is going, I'm going to see, I wonder if I can, ooh, log into YouTube and see if this is actually being broadcast live. Um, Maybe I could be my first viewer. And what I need to find out then is sound being recorded. This MFR's live. He's live. Maybe I could be my first viewer. Oh, you know what? I am my first viewer. I'm gonna give myself a like. Find out then is sound being recorded. All right, so we have learned a couple things. I have figured out how to do sound MFers, and that is something good. So, what is next on the agenda? You know what? Okay, there we go. Um, Someone was telling me that you just kind of sit online, and if you sit here long enough, they'll come. And so I do have some interesting NFT and crypto news I want to get to. Um, and there's a bunch of plays going on. Two of which are on the top of my three that are on the top of my head. Okay, four. I'm not gonna lie. There's probably more than that, but off the top of my head, I want to I want to crack the whistle a bit on Bitcoin. I want to crack the whistle on Ethereum. I want to talk about Solana. I want to talk about the Jupiter airdrop. Um, and then there's some shit coins that I want to talk about. Dog with hat. And there's a bunch of shit coins, and they're all kind of down. Last time I looked this morning, and so anybody who popped in yesterday, maybe you're down like 20%, and that's tough with these shit coins because no matter how fun the meme is, no matter how much money people made, when they go south quick, and it sucks losing your money on stupid coins. Um, and I don't know. It's I guess it's the ratio of gambling. If you continue to make smart plays and just gamble, at some point your gamble will pay off, and it outweighs all of the mistakes that you made. I think that is the hope. Whether that in truth happens, I don't know. So let's think out loud about Ethereum. So if you read my Substack, I did a kind of a just like a not a dumbed down version, but just a super easy to comprehend version of what the Denkin upgrade is, what blobs are, why they're important to the Ethereum network, how they're going to change things, how they're going to save people money, how it's going to make the network more effective, all that stuff. And it's it's a super quick read as I try and make most of my stuff. So we have this upgrade going on. It's on phase two right now. We have one more test network before it goes to mainnet. We have Vitalik Buterin. It was his birthday yesterday. Shout out to Vitalik. We also have some impending allegations that are being thrown against Vitalik regarding some early plays back in the day. Um, and this guy's been making some noise. It's kind of like a thorn in your side. I don't know if there's any validity to his claims, but he was supposedly somebody that was kind of in early on in the mix, and it sounds like he's got stinkfoot. I think he turned down 1 million Ethereum at some point, which is worth a lot of money these days, and he's probably sour about that. Whatever it is a developing story, and so it is worth watching. As far as I know, Vitalik has not responded to any of these allegations in any shape or form. As we know, Vitalik lives in Montenegro. Um, he's kind of safe from any sort. Not that anything would happen, but it's an interesting developing story that I am watching. And that wasn't even on that wasn't even on the list today. There are some things that are on the list. So, one, Cathie Wood made some. Cathie Woods is awesome. So, Cathie Wood had a prediction that said basically you should have at least 19.4% of your portfolio allocation. It should be in Bitcoin, period. And that was her looking back on 2023 when she ran all the numbers across the board. She said risk to reward ratio, that is the perfect allocation for almost anybody. And then so I did a deep dive on that. And when you look at the allocation of Bitcoin recommended by different advisors throughout the years, it has slowly, risky advisors, granted, but they have always looked at, the ones who have looked at Bitcoin favorably, they've increased their number across the board for how much you should have in actual Bitcoin. And so Cathie Wood coming out at 19.4% is pretty bold, and I believe the prediction for 2024 will be even higher because it has incrementally gone up since people have been using financial advisors to invest in Bitcoin. And so just food for thought. So if you're not 20% to 25% allocated in Bitcoin, you are missing potential upside as we move into the Bitcoin halving, which we have a bunch of indicators that say it is going to go up. We're in a stall for the moment. We're going to double down on that in a second as well. But as far as I'm concerned, 25% of your investment portfolio in Bitcoin would be a smart move. That is just my take. Next, we have ETF referral rails, the ETF referral rails, the ETF onboard rails, the ETF Bitcoin rails for new people to acquire this ETF are not easy. They are not easy by a long shot. Not only are most financial advisors not equipped on how to speak about Bitcoin as an asset class to their clients because they haven't done the research because it was off books. Because it has just gone on books recently doesn't mean they've been waiting, chomping at the bit for this to happen. They have busy portfolios that they manage. They wait for an asset class to get verified, then they start doing the research. So I'm sure that we are going to see people diving deep into the research. Even those that did do the research, those asset managers are not able to purchase the ETF. I've heard of some sticky situations for trying to purchase this from just about anybody. So keep that in mind when we're bitching and moaning about the inflows and what the fuck, why hasn't the price gone up? It will go up. Scarcity is in effect. It just hasn't kicked in. Patient and adventure pants are advised as always. Next up, we have Bitcoin. It has slipped under $42,000 in the wake of the Fed's hawkish tone. Jerome Powell delivers his standard stinkfoot. That's how we do it. Chaos to clarity, noise to narrative. It is Thursday, February 1st, and it is time for some rare bits and some coffee. We are going to get into some numbers for the nerds and some news stories that I think are relevant today. It is a beautiful day. And while I'm having this coffee, it's funny. People talk about podcasting and how to do this, and it would be great to have standard. I mean, fantastical equipment. And I want everybody to know that it is also possible to do this with just a telephone, which is what I'm doing right now. And it is not the most effective version of doing this shit, but I'm getting it out there. And it's like if I could figure out how to have charts and shit pop up while I was doing this, or numbers go across the screen, I would do that. But right now it's not that kind of party. And the idea is sometimes you just need to send it. Stop worrying about what other people think. Stop worrying about not having the right equipment. Stop worrying about the sound quality not being perfect. Stop worrying about everything. And it brings me to something that's interesting. I've had this interesting philosophy. So Nike, for years, has had this motto, which people lived by: just do it. And while that's inspirational, it can also be deflating because many of us can't just do it. I can't dunk the ball like Michael Jordan, right? I can't play drums like John Bonham. These are not within my reach. And so sometimes just do it, I don't know, it sends the wrong message. And I understand the motivational aspect behind it, and I get behind it. What I have found as an artist and looking at that sentiment, that's a sports sentiment. And I look at the same sentiment from a creative perspective. And my take on it is stop not doing it. And what do I mean by that? If you are a musician, did you play your guitar today? If you're an actor, did you research lines? Did you look through old plays? Did you commit a monologue to memory? If you're a comedian, did you write a joke today? If you're a singer, did you pen lyrics to paper? Did you work on a chord? Did you work on a vocal harmony with a friend? Whatever it is you do, you have to do it every day. So it's not just do it. Stop not doing it. And that will make you what you want to be. If you want to be an artist, stop not being an artist. Put things into the atmosphere that you created every day so you can check that off your books. It's just an interesting way, and it's harmonious with just do it. But if you're not feeling that inspired, just stop not doing it. If you're a drummer, did you pick up drumsticks and work on rudiments for 15 minutes today? Did you increase your skill level more than it was yesterday? Did you feed your appetite for that title that you are chasing? And if the answer is no, stop not doing that. If you're a writer, did you write today? Did you interview somebody today? Did you put out a podcast today? That's why I'm doing this shit. I don't have a camera. I don't have a fucking microphone. I don't have any of those things. I have a fucking telephone. Stop not doing it. Okay. I have no excuses not to do this shit. So that's exactly what I'm doing right now. All right? So there it is there. I'm having a little coffee. We're getting the morning going. All right, so here, excuse me, I'm still getting over COVID. It has been a long, long journey. Today, the Crypto Greed and Fear Index is a 63 degrees. We are up 3 from yesterday. That is the crypto sentiment across the board. That means that people are enjoying the movement. It seems like something's going to happen. Hopefully, we're getting there. NFT sentiment is equivalent to that of yesterday. It's still chilly in NFT land. That's how it is. We're just going to take it. As soon as we start to get these coins pumping and moving, we will see some movement. The Jupiter airdrop may have gone a bit sideways. We will get into that in a minute. But yeah, if we can get some liquidity and some pumpage into the market, it will be good for everybody. The top crypto search term for the normies is alt layer. The ticker sign is ALT. It's up 19% on the 7-day. Sometimes this is indicative of what's to come. I like to keep this on my radar. I report on this daily. When we see coins pop up more than once, usually I do a double down and do some research on it. I don't know what alt layer is, ticker sign ALT. The fact that it's up 19% on the 7 days indicates something pretty good because we've had kind of a shitty week, and so we will get into some numbers in a minute. Top NFT search term is MetaZoo. Not going to touch that one. Bitcoin dominance is flat. Ethereum dominance is down. Where did the money go? It went into the shitcoin universe. Ethereum NFT volume is drastically up over the last 24 hours. Solana volume on the NFT land is down 14% in that same time period. We had a weekly Bitcoin close above the resistance zone of 44K. If we had that happen, 44K, if we blast past that 44K by the end of the week, it could set us up on fire, and we like to be on fire. Solana Hunger Games, yes, please. Mutant Hounds are going to Ordinals, oh boy. Art Blocks just acquired a brand new marketplace. Hooray for Art Blocks, pushing that generative art narrative, which we love. Vitalik Buterin, he's in the hot seat. I kind of touched on this when I was getting into this. Yeah, we're going to news that out in a second with some names and stuff. And is BitBoy, is he back on the sauce? What has happened with him? And the only reason I say that is, we'll get into the story, but I think basically he's just decided no more daily podcasts. 3 years was enough, and he can't financially afford to do it. No help, one phone, one guy. Can't afford it. Maybe it's mentally taxing. It can't be mentally taxing. It doesn't ring a bell with me. He does stand up. I think he stands up through his entire thing. And I'm sitting down. I'm having coffee with you guys. I'm having coffee. I'm actually having coffee by myself. When people say, yeah, just start streaming, dude, and start streaming. After like 3 or 5 hours, they say, yeah, you'll start popping up on somebody's rotation or something. So I'm just waiting for that. And I'm going to get back into the news. I'm just sipping some coffee as we get into this. Man, it's a beautiful day. It's February 1st. I don't know where you are. I am in Miami Beach. And it's nice in Florida. Like the weather's pretty nice here. I've lived all over, and it's nice here. I'm a fan. All right, people. I've dragged this on absolutely long enough, but you never know. Like the longer this goes on, maybe pop up on somebody's thing. And if you're not doing anything right now, hit the like, subscribe. I don't know where it goes. I don't know where the buttons go, but do the things that people do when you watch somebody on this channel. I just started this channel recently, and I got most of my followers from Twitter because I'm on Twitter, or I'm on, and I had to go over there and be like, to people I know over there, be like, yo, can you help me out and, come like and subscribe over here? And they did. And once I got past 60, that's how I got to do this. All right, you don't care about this shit. Okay, so I want to do, oh shit, where is it? Whoa. All right, so I am going to do this. Fucking A. I'm so sorry, you guys. Where is my preview? Holy moly, that makes me so upset. Oh, you know what? It doesn't. Because check this out. Watch this. Watch this, MFers. I don't know what you see. Hopefully you see a picture. Man, studio mode. Studio mode. Scene two. Oh, look at that. Okay, you have to be able to see. You have to be looking at it because I'm looking at it. Okay, so we are looking at the crypto heat map. Granted, this was this morning, but everything is in the red. This is the 24-hour map. Bitcoin is at $42,185. Ethereum is at 2268. BNB is at 298. It's dropped down. I think it was at 311 not too long ago. Solana, salami, where have you gone? Trading at 95, 549. Oh my goodness. Now I'm going to do this. So this, it just shows our bounce. So it's not a good bounce. And it's funny, 2 days ago I was talking about Solana clearing 103. That was our top resistance number, and it did not do it. So unfortunately, yeah, we are back to the red. And while I have you MFers right here, I am just going to have a quick look at the heat map for this second because I do my report pretty early in the morning. And I'm just going to say, I like what I see. So what does that mean? That means on the 1 hour heat map, we have turned around and absolutely almost everything is green. We have Bitcoin trading at $42,734, not even close to what we need. But on the 1 hour, we are back in the green. Ethereum is at 22.97. Solana is at 96.54. When I do switch to the 1 day, everything is in the red. But when in doubt, zoom out. I want to pop to the 7 day, and really we have a nice green map. On the 7 day, Bitcoin is still up 6%. Solana is up 8%, and you guys let's even jump out to the month doesn't look as good. So let's find shit that we like. So the 1 week is what we like. So we are just gonna run with that for the momentum. Now, next thing I am looking at. Okay, we have a new mobile phone augmented reality game. And it's like a DGen heaven game. Why? Because it's a blockchain game. 2, it's on Solana. 3, and you can earn Solana if you play. So I think all of that is bomber. It is called Solana Hunger. It is called the Solana Hunger Games, and I'm starving. My stomach is growling. I apologize. What is it? It's called Solana Hunger Games, and let's just say it's super popular. In like, I don't know, they amassed 100,000 followers and 2 million page visits within 24 hours of launching this shit. So the DGen culture is super thick and super alive on X. If you're not on X, I don't know what you're doing, especially if you are into crypto and NFTs. X has a really good platform to explore that stuff. And I'm also going to say this. This is super interesting. So, and this is across the board, whatever the fuck you're into. X has a live space about it. And what's interesting about this paradigm is that X has this amazing live content, and they do not make it easy for people to find or get at. There is a workaround. There is a website called spacesdashboard.com. It's not an advertisement. It's just advice. Go to spacesdashboard.com, and it will show you every single live Twitter space that's happening. And usually there's about, 22,000 of them across the globe happening. And you can select whatever topic you're interested in, whether it's NFTs, digital currencies, government, the war in Ukraine, the war in Bosnia, whatever floats your boat, there's probably a live space about it. And what's interesting about that as well is it gives you a chance to interact in real time. And we're talking about interacting with people that are on the ground where the shit's happening. These are not news reports that you're getting filtered through different media outlets with a spin on it. These are people that are kind of in the trenches, and it's happening live. And these spaces are really, it's one of the most interesting town hall type of scenarios that I've seen come across. It affords quite a bit of opportunity for people from different voices and different viewpoints to speak. And what's nice about it is when I say the different viewpoints, there's this modicum of respect where people decide, okay, I am going to give you the chance to speak. Even though I don't like what you're saying, I am going to give you the chance to finish your sentence and finish your thought. And in life, we don't always get to do that. And if you don't let people finish their sentence and finish their thought, how can you gain perspective? And without perspective, you have no detailed view of what things mean and what the correct path is to move forward. So keep that in mind. Anyway, I just recommend getting on X. It is a great platform to explore. And if you're nervous about shit, it's what a great way to create a digital identity and go explore and go listen. You can be a fly on the wall and hear just about anything you want. And behind that digital identity, you also have the opportunity to participate as a speaker on these spaces. And that's a really interesting experience as well if you haven't done it. So I do recommend all of these things. Next up, we have the creator of, okay, you know what? I do want to finish on Solana Hunger Games. Basically what happens is not only is this game on Solana, not only can you earn Solana, they are blending augmented reality with the game, and the fact that it's one of the first AR games to come out that runs on Solana, you can earn Solana, and they're blending AR and blockchain technology. I don't know, it's a win. That's why people are checking out the website. That's why people have flocked to what they're doing. I think gaming is going to be one of the next drivers for just mass adoption. I think it's actually, and I've been thinking about this a lot lately, I think gaming is actually going to be second to real world assets. And I don't think that wave is hit yet. I think we're about to see that real world asset tokenization of things kick in, and that is going to be the driver. I think what gaming is going to continue to do is push the envelope of discovery and creativity and technology and continue to innovate because of the needs, the compute power that's needed for gaming. Innovation is so close behind that, and we all benefit from that. So in that sense, I do think gaming will drive what's coming. I don't think it's going to drive the masses to the blockchain. I think real world assets are. And NFTs were a step in that. I think gaming is getting the idea when they're learning how to tokenize assets in game. We need mainstream adoption. We need City Hall. You need to be able to settle your house deed in tokenized assets at City Hall across the board, across every single state in the United States. That makes sense. Like this. Yeah, I'm not going to get started on that stuff, but the real world assets are coming, and we need to find a way to push that stuff forward, in my opinion. Next up, we have the creator of Mutant Hounds NFT. He has decided to take his collection and put it on the blockchain. People are excited with that. Bitcoin ordinals, everybody's excited with Bitcoin ordinals. It is something that you cannot deny. If you have not investigated Bitcoin ordinals, what I can say about it is I think I minted my first Bitcoin ordinal art piece in June of last year. And just looking at the ease that things have grown, looking at the ease of operation to be in that ecosystem now from when I minted to what users experience today it's worth noting. And the ecosystem has grown immensely and super quick. It is worth putting it on your hit list for things to check out. If you are trading shitcoins, it is worth putting the Ordi token. There's a couple tokens I'll get into in a second. There's some things that are worth putting on your list because if you are a believer in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and if you do believe that we are about to see some sort of meteoric rise, hedging your bet, just like Cathie Wood said, 19.4% in Bitcoin, your plays off of that can also, I think, I would include some of these other tokens. She's got really strong conviction in Bitcoin. Why not, do some riskier plays that even have more of an upshot? They also have a downshot as well, but the risk curve is interesting because the upshot could be really nice. So Mutant Hounds, you're going to find them on Ordinals. Hooray! They're doing I believe it's a pixelated version, and people love the pixels. So Pixel Dogs, roof roof. Next we have AI. Art is found a super home. We have Art Blocks. They have just acquired the NFT marketplace called Sansa, which is interesting. They are going to use this as home base to expand their ecosystem. Sansa started in about 2022, and just the fact that they are going to cater to this generative art movement, I think, is wonderful. One of the things that I love about that generative art movement is so much of that art transfers so well into physical assets. So you buy a digital asset and you get a print done and you frame it and you put it in your house, you put it wherever you want. So so much of that world transfers really well. And to have a permanent digital asset is in my view the way to do all of these things. Okay, next up, we have the blockchain game Alien Worlds. They are introducing a limited series of comics, and they are going to drop this on Polygon. So these physical digital crossover things are absolutely brilliant. They are utilizing this technology. They're going to transform these into exclusive collectibles for all the fans. The collectibles are going to have rarities at varying levels to keep everybody interested and involved in with the stuff. There's going to be a forging feature for the comics. I think that is going to be used to help progress the story moving forward. There are prizes and challenges along the way. Polygon is going to be a wonderful spot for all of these frictionless. I didn't mean to say frictionless because, man, I want Polygon to find its footing. I think it's doing some amazing stuff, but the friction, if you're on some of these other blockchains, is a bit cumbersome to me. If we can surpass that, I think Polygon is set to absolutely just rip faces off. So I keep them on my radar. Next up, I talked about Ethereum's co-founder, Vitalik Buterin. Happy birthday. And in my Substack, I've reported on this. I think I first reported on this maybe, 3 months ago when this guy started making noise. But anyway, there was a hack for, 450 million. Yeah, it was a big hack. And this was back in 2016. There's a whistleblower journalist and some other people that are involved. Somebody's trying to throw the Ethereum Foundation under the bus. Vitalik has remained silent on it. Not that that means anything. It's just, it's one of these interesting stories that it just doesn't seem to go away. And I don't know if there's any validity to it, but the fact that it keeps popping up is something that I keep my eye on. It's just like this other guy who, for years has been saying he's Satoshi. So he just got fined by the court for cracking everybody's whistle for, I don't know how long he's been doing that since. Probably about the same time, 2016, so good on him. Anyway, we have Cramer, who I think he's got absolutely bozo takes on Bitcoin. And it's interesting. I hear fucking young people talk about boomers not understanding. And I get it. Like, it's not that they don't understand. It's that there's no incentive to understand it. Right? Like, they could understand it, but why? If you're a boomer, why digital art? I have a fucking painting on the wall. Get the fuck out of here. I've lived my whole life with the painting on the wall. I don't give a shit. But to live future forward is a different breed. And to look at everything creatively, it's a blessing and a curse that I have. So I've always tried to stay on the cutting edge of what's happening with technology, with music, with fashion, with art, with pushing the boundaries, with experiences, with digital physical experiences. I don't know, creating experiences that were not meant to be captured by a camera, creating experiences that were meant to be experienced. So creating art from that perspective is much different than things happen today where everything, if it's not an Instagram moment, is it even a moment? That's right. But it's the same thing with trying to talk to boomers about crypto. It's a scratch your head moment. Um, how could we incentivize them? You know, it's like when I think about younger people speaking with their parents at holiday about Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies, and you know, like sometimes you get them to sucker in and and buy your bags and become your exit liquidity. But the conversation with them is what's interesting. And from their perspective, there's no incentive to learn this new shit. I'm set in my ways. Leave me alone. Just I'm gonna die in 10, 15 years. Just get the fuck out of my face. And yes, are they missing the boat? Yeah, they missed the fucking 1,000 boats. They're fucking 50 or 60. Leave them alone. It doesn't mean you should stop pursuing it, and it doesn't mean you should not be passionate about it, because we are on the cusp of something so magical happening in the crypto industry, in the blockchain industry, in the art industry, in the real world asset industry, in your real estate being fractionalized if you can't afford it. You need to buy a house, your son's getting married and you can't afford it. Let's fractionalize the deed and we're going to get the entire family, all of our cousins and everybody to help. For the wedding present, we're going to buy you a house because we fractionalized the deed to your house and everybody chipped in $834 across the family. You now have a down payment for a house you're in. Those are real world assets in action that are not happening now, that could happen as early as tomorrow if we adopt some of this tech and just push it forward. These things were not possible or even thought possible years ago. Your daughter is getting married. Holy shit, that's great news. It would be awesome if we could call the caterer and we want to pay for the wedding dinner today. We want to fractionalize it. What? Well, we want to put the entire wedding dinner, which is going to be, let's say, 60 grand if you want to have some fancy dinner. Okay, you have a $60,000 wedding coming up. Man, that's a lot. How do we do that? We're going to fractionalize it and we're going to have the family help out. And instead of sending us a wedding gift, my daughter, she wants a fucking fancy wedding with a dress. If you guys send $110 each, we can have the wedding of her dreams. That's what real world assets bring to the table. That's magic. That's fucking magic. That's the shit that gets me excited. I don't know if you can tell, but it gets me excited. So those are the people that are going to bring it. And all the other stuff is just going to come with it, in my opinion. But I'm a nut. Look at me. Next up, we have, I just started talking about this ETF, and there was a group that got together. It started about a year ago, and they were called the Inverse of Jim Cramer. And I started talking about Jim Cramer's bozo takes on Bitcoin, and I get sidetracked a lot. So whatever, you're along for the ride. I'm just streaming live because that's what somebody told me to do. And I'm going through some news that I think is important that you could hear, and I'm enjoying my coffee while I do it. So I apologize if this is not what you planned on getting. Oh, if you plan on getting this news, so here's this. I do a Substack every morning. I wake up at 4:30 a.m. I try and write the Substack and have it all done and pumped out by 8 a.m. Usually I get it done a bit quicker. And I'll circle back to that in a second. But I publish a written Substack, which is purely factual. I just try and get the news, get the meat and potatoes, give you a bite, all the bites that are important in the news. I pump that out. It's super mobile friendly, so you can read it in the morning. Next up, I record a podcast. Usually they're under about 10 minutes. And I give all the news that I'm delivering now without all this fucking coffee drinking and bullshit flavor that I'm adding. Yeah, so the Substack and the podcast are kind of somewhat factual. Sometimes I get carried away on the audio podcast. But I kind of looked at the YouTube as a chance to just go, yeah, all out crazy ballistic. And what the idea is that at some point, I'll have it's funny because I just checked. There's an excellent connection with me and YouTube, but I have 0 views, nobody. So I'm just doing this. I'm putting out content. That's what I'm doing. So I'm in no hurry. But not to get super duper sidetracked. So this ETF that formed about this time last year called the Inverse of Jim Cramer, they decided to just bet the opposite. They just bet on everything opposite of Jim Cramer. And while I think he has bozo takes on Bitcoin, sometimes he does have some other predictions that seem to pan out. And so this group, they just closed shop 1 year later. And all the investors, while they had some successful moments, you know, I think across the board after 1 year into it, everybody was down about 15%. So everybody lost what they got in, what they put in, and then some. Because most people sold at varying degrees at the bottom. But when you look across the 1 year average, it was a 15% loss. But there's a bunch of unhappy people who decided, I don't know, you can't fuck with Cramer, I guess. But I will fuck with him on Bitcoin because I think he's underpinning the severity of what is about to happen. And yeah, Cathie Woods, just having her ARK Research, their white paper that they put out, it's just kind of their perspective on what 2003 held and what asset classes they're looking at in 2004. And so that's really interesting, watching where ARK Investment is going to put their purchasing power moving forward. And so it's interesting to watch them. So if you want to be a part of that fund, you get to see where that money is allocated. But as a private citizen investor, it can also give you some insight or some inroads on some interesting things to do some research on yourself if you find that interesting and start placing some of your own bets, which is what I think is so much more fun. Now, I mentioned is BitBoy on the sauce. I don't know if he's on the sauce. Apparently, BitBoy is no longer going to be doing his daily podcast. Apparently, he did it for, I don't know if he passed the 3-year mark or almost 3 years, but he did it pretty religiously. And he found some success in doing so. He created a huge following. He did some crazy stuff. When did he start to fall off the rails? You know what's interesting? I think he had a couple missteps along the way, but around the FTX debacle, when he went to the Bahamas, and I don't know, that he had his tone with the police on that interview was interesting to me. I almost saw a different personality in him. And I think that was amplified through that year, which we just went through. I think it's been about a year since FTX went belly up. SBF is coming up on his sentencing. But then BitBoy had this weird thing. He was out in front of somebody else's house with his, I don't know, maybe his mistress, and he was documenting this altercation on YouTube when the cops came, and the cops were like, "Who's in the car?" He's like, "I can't tell you." And lo and behold, I don't know, it was almost like was it planned? I don't know. It was interesting. Whatever. It seemed like shit just fell apart for him, and so he's trying to pick up the pieces I think he had a bit of a comeback. I don't know. I actually followed him for a moment on Twitter, and I think I unfollowed him when he put out a tweet that said he's the king of Solana. you know, like in, like sitting in a king's chair with a crown and a scepter and a cape and all that shit. And he was the self-proclaimed king of Solana, and that's when I was like, okay, this is unfollow. And it takes a lot for me to unfollow you. Like, you got to do something pretty stupid. I'll just mute you. But I actually unfollowed him. Maybe that was the kiss of death. You never know. BitBoy, I'm sorry. I'll give you a follow back. Just shoot me a DM. Next up, we have. I don't know. I don't even want to shoot the shit on the Bitcoin volatility. People are calling it a kangaroo market, just a bunch of sideways chop back and forth. We have some neat stuff coming up that I think is going to be worth watching with the Bitcoin stuff. So it is worth keeping your eye on all that stuff. Yeah, and you know what? Like, I don't even know how long I streamed, but I feel like I streamed for a minute. I laid out the news that I'm watching today. Yeah, and this market evolves so quick. It evolves so fast. There was a big Jupiter. Oh, I'll touch on that for a sec before I roll out. There was a big Jupiter airdrop for the Solana ecosystem. Anybody who interacted on the Solana ecosystem and exchanged using the Jupiter network. For instance, if you go to BirdEye, which is a DEX, a decentralized exchange, or where you can go to purchase, buy, and sell different shit coins or different coins on the Solana ecosystem. BirdEye has a backend, and one of the backends that it uses is Jupiter. And you can actually toggle if you want to use Jupiter or Radium. There's a couple different ones that you can use. But if you did volume, depending on how much volume you did utilizing the Jupiter backend to purchase your trades, you were allocated an amount of Jupe token. And I think the token ran up quite a bit. And I don't know, last time I looked, it was trading at like 77 cents. And then I went to bed and it was trading at like 56 cents. And I think, here's what I think about Jupe. So people rag on the Solana ecosystem all the time. And I think it is an absolutely fantastic network. Hands down, I think it's the best network out there. I think once Firedancer gets implemented, there is going to be there's going to be no other reason to do anything but things on Solana, period. Hands down, the winner. Jupiter, so Solana's gotten FUD because they say the network's down. Yes, it's had some mishaps. It hasn't been down in almost 12 months. I think we're over 11 months. And what's interesting is this Jupiter drop was so massive. It was this just gargantuan stress test on the network. And what we learned is that the Solana network's fine. The problem is the Solana degens on the Solana network. That's not why the network went down. So the Solana network is a powerhouse. I think, yeah, it's the future. Solana is the future. Firedancer and Solana, it's gonna be magical. Anyway, yeah, Solana's down. I got sidetracked. I don't even know if I can get back to where I was. I was happy to talk about Solana. The Jupiter. So the stress test. It was this brilliant stress test on the Solana network, which did not fail because so this Jupiter drop. It came out of the gate. It looked like it was doing good. Everybody's stoked. They're tweeting, look how much money, like they're buying the Lambo. They're checking out all their shit. And then the FUD hits the Twitter timeline, and the FUD had something to do with the fact that in 7 days, a portion of the team that holds a large amount of the token was able to unlock it and just dump the market. And people were like, "This is no bueno. This can't be happening." So a bunch of people just dropped out of the coin. And like you always have to think about this shit on Twitter. It's like, are these psyop? Is this psyop bullshit? Like, do you put out a tweet like that and it gets traction? The market will correct around this news. They will say, "Oh, this is bad news. We're going to correct and we're going to liquidate," and price goes down. Are these same people that are creating this drama then coming in and scooping the market? What's amazing there is I got sidetracked, but I found my way back, and I did that for you guys. Be kind whenever possible. It's always possible. Remember, the rabbit hole runs deep. You can subscribe to my Substack. I bring crypto clarity to you guys in a concise manner. As I said, I do the written word in the morning. I do the podcast. I do the video. I do live Twitter spaces as well. You can catch me doing a bunch of different stuff. Check out Rarebits Live. Warning, Rarebits may cause hodling. All right, you guys enjoy your day. Boom.